puts up a tough shot. Bounces around, goes in at the buzzer. Working it down to 2-1, a deep three. Oh!
It's population.
That's how you win a game.
It's population. We hustle every day to find picks. You can tell us if you want to get rich. It's population. We robbing Underdog and PrizePicks. We the best in this biz. You ain't telling us shit. It's population. We love making money quick, fast. Cooking up a team card. The whole crew about to smash. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash. The dopest team you ever seen. Winning money, stacking G's. Boogie setting traps, but they'll never catch me. Some people get addicted like rats to the cheese, but I got one obligation to bring Johnny to his knees. Holding back the props till the morning he knows. They'll be fishing in the shack, plotting nukes with the bros. Only with crawl, never reload. Underrated to my amigos. We go with honest, we seeking the bloods. We know when a fucking cheat code. Party that I'm sweating, it can't be good for my health. Some may call it making bets, I call it investing in myself. I'm picking props like stocks, population for the win. Got my sips in by the buzzer now, let the games begin.
Unbelievable. Just classic. He did it.
It's population. It's population. It's population. We do it for the fam, so everybody let's cash.
What's up, man?
What's up, guys? How are we doing today?
Doing great. How are you doing, sir?
All right, we got an easy 3-game slate here. With
Yes.
not much news, man, except Giannis is the only key piece of news. He remains questionable. He missed the last game, so we'll see on him. Other than that, I think we got pretty much all the news. Well, we'll get into it more. Yesterday turned out to be a pretty solid day, man. The only major miss was Chet. Something's up with him, man. He's not the same right now. He's not active on defense. He's not active in general. Maybe he's dealing with something we just don't know about. But historically, he's dominated the Nuggets. But yeah, all the core plays smash, man. Gafford, Vooch.
Yeah.
Talked to the stream, said it was 2 plays like the most. They did their thing. Sabonis got all his first half props. So the centers came through for us. I like to attack centers in the right spot because the matchups are somewhat more predictable than other positions, because other positions can be difficult for matchup wise because there's so much switching and there's so much positionless basketball, right? So like some guys, they play all positions on the court besides center. Some play even center at times. So yeah, I think center is easy to isolate the matchup and get the metrics and data right on that. So
Yeah, you taught me that. You taught me that a few years ago. I remember. You always look at the centers first and try to find the spots. Yep.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I do when I crack open the slate, it's like, once now we're figuring out which teams are to attack inside the paint. Each year it changes, it fluctuates, right? Like sometimes same teams stay the same, like the Hornets, but for a while it was the Wizards. Now they changed up their whole front court, so it's actually not them. They're actually, like, I was looking at data, like top 3. So yeah, it's we're starting to figure out which teams to attack, like the Raptors, the Nuggets, and others. So yeah, that's the first thing I look at. What center is going against those teams on the slate?
Love it.
But today, all 3 games start at the same time, so it kind of makes live betting. On small slates, I like to live bet more because it's like you can focus in each game, but it's gonna be hard because they're all at the same time.
Tell me one thing. Tell me one thing though. Ever since we've streamed since the beginning of the season, has there been one day where like at least 70% didn't hit? I swear every day has been pretty good, if not amazing. It's amazing. That's crazy.
It's been really solid, man. And I'm glad we were patient. We waited on to collect data. We didn't rush into the first week. So,
yeah, and played less at the beginning and all that. Yeah, I think it's perfect so far. Now you're getting into it.
And the live betting, man, if I had the time and resources, like I would love to just like get on voice and just watch the game and say, okay, we need to hit this, because it's hard to like screenshot, prep the thing, and share play like live. But if you're just like sitting there and you're just like watching the game and you're like, okay, we should do this.
Yeah.
Live betting in basketball, if you could figure out a coach's rotation and know a player is going to lose out on minutes in the second half for whatever reason, not just blowouts. Like blowouts are obvious, but like matchup wise, like some other guy that requires him to be on the court is in foul trouble, is not going to be in, or whatever reason. You just know the coach's rotation in the second half.
Right.
There's so much more edge in live betting. It just requires so much more time and dedication, where you got to sit down and really watch the games and stay on top of it. It's just,
you got to quit your job and do this 24/7, and then you could do it.
Or just quit life.
Quit life.
At that point.
Yeah, just quit life. But you know what? You know what might be interesting though is if you see games or a game or a certain time that looks good, and you somehow have time in your busy life to be able to do that, we could like set up certain times where you could, because the UFC dude, like I always tell you, bro, those Saturdays are the dopest shit, and he does it just like you're saying. And you could maybe set up times. I don't know. It might be something to think about one day, though.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that'd be good. Especially like I said, like on small slates where the betting is so concentrated and all the lines are so tight because of that. It's better to do live betting, in my opinion. So yeah, maybe we could find something like that for small slates. But it was fun doing last night for Drummond. They bumped his PRA ridiculously high because he hit his first 3 of the season in the first half. He made us sweat the full 20.5 PRA under, because he finished with exactly 20 because he hit that 3 unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm.
But we caught him on the live too. I hit him so many different ways. Live, pre.
Yeah, you were like, hit the 28.5 PRA. I was like, oh, when Josh says that, I better get it. Yep.
I was sweating it, but it really wasn't a sweat, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see if we can find a Drummond today. I think I might have one. We'll see. But yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter which game we start with because they're all at the same time. Later start time, we got an extra hour. Starts at 8:10 Eastern, all 3. But yeah, we got some lopsided spreads here, except for one game. T-Wolves opened as 7.5-point favorites, but then Levine news dropped that he is now went from questionable to doubtful. So I think that moved the spread even more because we saw when Levine doesn't play, what happens to the Bulls. They get obliterated. Vooch, he tried to carry the team yesterday on his back in the first half. I think he had like 14 points in the first half, and it just wasn't enough. The Mavs just started pulling away big time in the third quarter. I mean, the Mavs led pretty much the whole game, but then they started really pulling away in the third. That's what's got me scared here because the T-Wolves are playing pretty well right now. They're fully healthy. They got a solid bench, while the Bulls are not fully healthy, and they don't have a solid bench, and they don't have their best scorer in Levine. So I get why I went from 7.5 to 9.5 point spread in favor of the T-Wolves, even being on the road. And the T-Wolves are rested, right? They had the election day break. They had yesterday off. And then the Bulls don't have any rest. They're coming off a back-to-back, just playing the Mavs. So they are at home, but no Levine, like I said, in a tough matchup. I'm not giddy about any of these props, including giddy, so my Bulls props. I mean, Io came back down to earth yesterday. He had a really good game on, Sunday? And with Levine out, and then he just could not score. Shot terrible from 3. But he still picked up the RA. I don't know if they ever dropped his RA because the Levine news came late. So let's keep an eye out for his RA. I mean, he's just getting it done on the glass so much. What is his RA at? 7.5. That's not bad. I don't mind it. I'm sure it's 8 on PrizePicks or Underdog, but in the books. It's weird because like on Monday he had 17 potentials, but then yesterday he only had 5 potentials. but it looks like he's just living around 7 or 8 potentials when Levine plays. But his rebounding is constant, right? I mean, he's getting minimum 5 rebounds a game. So why is his rebound prop 3.5 then? That can't be right. Why would his assists be higher at 4.5? It should be flipped, right? Like, I think his rebounds should be 4.5, and his assists should be 3.5. not the other way around here. That's weird. But I would just do the RA if you're interested. It's not the best RA spot, however, but see, last year he had 4 RA and 9 RA, and that's with Drummond playing and DeRozan and all them. So what do we got on good old? We don't even have IO props on PrizePicks. So yeah, it would be something in the books. Okay, I'll jot that down. I mean, if you don't want to sweat the assists because his potentials have been all over the place, maybe just his 3.5 rebound too. He should start in place of Levine.
Bringing back your rebound whisperer name.
Oh man, IO and rebounds scared me so much last year, but I honestly think the difference this year is that Drummond is gone. And he played a lot of minutes alongside Drummond with the second unit last year. So I think that's the only difference, really. I can find because DeRozan being gone is not the factor because DeRozan wasn't really much of a rebounder. But yeah, it's a pretty low line. But how many minutes did he play yesterday in the blowout? He only played 25 minutes. And he still had 5 rebounds, but he converted on 5 rebounds out of 5 rebound chances. So, but 7.5, it's not bad. I mean, he's been at 6.5, but I think it's getting juiced now that with Levine being out and how he's been getting it done. Okay, and then Vooch. I mean, Gobert's nothing to be scared of, especially from the outs. From stretch bigs like Vooch. But you just got to worry about minutes, right? So let's take a look at his point play versus Gobert. He had 2 solid games to finish out the season versus him, end of the season, right? So in February, March, 46 fantasy and 41 fantasy. He's getting stocks against him, which is interesting.
Oh, you know what though? I wanted to tell you, I forgot, man. The Wemby call you had yesterday. Ooh wee, that under was spot
the points?
on. Yes,
that's a nice find you had on the 25.5. Underdog was tripping.
Yeah. But I didn't even actually get it in before the tip, so I got lucky. But that actual play was good. But I had Duran at his double-double. So
and he got injured in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
That's okay. I didn't get it in, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Can you zoom your PrizePicks out just a little bit? I think you got it zoomed in a lot. That works right there. That's good.
Okay, I would say Vooch's fantasy. I would say first half if you're worried about blowouts. But I mean, last year he got it done against Gobert fantasy wise, so and his usage is going to be crazy again without Levine. So he should dominate, especially in the first half of the usage. We saw that yesterday against the Mavs. Okay, that's about it for the Bulls. Not touching anyone else. Not Giddey, not White. I mean, you can consider Giddey under here with his PRA, but if he goes a distance, it could get sweaty. His points are already down to 13.5. He was living around 14.5, 15.5. His PRA did get bumped to 26.5, though. It was 25.5. It's not bad, but I mean, it's right there on the line, man. Giddy can get lucky with a bunch of rebounds and stuff. So maybe the points would be the way to go here, but the shot volume's going to be there. So I don't want to get burned by Giddy. And Kobe White, I just haven't touched him all season. So Jalen Smith could be interesting now he's back healthy. Goggles. It comes down to him does he make his threes or not. So I'm good. T-Wolves are interesting here. Bulls are bad at everything. Look at the DVP rank for every position. It's all top 10. Most fantasy given up to like every position, pretty much, except the center position are average. But that's because Vooch isn't really active near the basket as much, and they take a lot of perimeter shots. But they do give up points in the paint. So we can look at that for Gobert. It's a good spot for Gobert, but man, there's too many black holes on this team, and his usage is just not enough. But the Bulls are dead last, and points allowed in near the rim. So, yeah, Gobert should score with ease here. We saw what Gafford did, right? I mean, just went off. So, yeah, Gafford had 17 points. Kessler had 12. Claxton even had 12. So, very similar types. Players here is Gobert. Just traditional bigs down near the basket scoring. But with Gobert, if I ever do play him, it's just fantasy because of the stock upside. But yeah, again, he's competing with guys. I haven't projected with high usage guys. I haven't projected for 29 fantasies, only averaging, which is crazy for Gobert. He's only averaging 0.88 fantasy points per minute. That's so low for a center. So if he plays his normal 32, 33 minutes, I've only put him at like 29 fantasy. His line was all up to 33, probably because of the matchup.
Quinn's here. What's up, Quinn? He says Gobert. Gobert has an amazing rebound history against Vooch. Check Stat Muse.
Yep.
He said Bo's playing at the fastest pace in the NBA as well.
Okay. I mean, then I would say either PR or fantasy if you want exposure to him. Yeah. He played him twice last year. Huge minutes though, 38 minutes and 44 minutes. I mean, he played 38 minutes and had only 10 rebounds. Game for that, played 44 minutes and still managed 12 points. Gosh, Gobert.
Oh,
Maybe the PR?
Kev says Ant-Man 3s when you get a second as well. He's wondering about Ant's 3s.
Yeah. Should do that. Look, it's a popular play. It's just given the history of matchup. He could do it, man, but just it's a usage rate. It's low. 9% usage he had last game. Game before that he had 19%. 17%. How's he doing in the first half if we're worried about blowout? It's right there. That 16.5 is right on the dot. I don't know, guys. On paper, great matchup, but on player, I'm scared because of Gobert. Because Julius and Ant are going to dominate usage, and then Nas, when he checks in, is going to dominate usage as well. So let's talk about Nas. Last 2 games, he's been playing consistently 15 minutes in the first half. So I think we can consider first half form. It seems like he's playing most of his minutes in the first half, and a lot of that is with Ant off the court. But we can double check that. So if he's playing 15 minutes and he's averaging right now in the season 1.1 fantasy points per minute, that puts him at 16 fantasy on an average day form, and his line is 12. I don't mind it. I mean, he's not a high stock guy, but he can definitely get stocks. So let's look at his first half this season. Let's see, 26, 12, 14, 12.5, 12.9, 13.9, and 5.6 against the Lakers. He just shot really poor. But that was when he was playing 13 minutes. His minutes has just been ramping up in the first half. First 3 games, 13 minutes, then 14 minutes, and then the last 2, 15 minutes. So he's cleared it every single game except for 1, and it was the opening day against the Lakers. He's cleared that 12 fantasy flat. So I would say that if you want to consider anything Nas first half, I would say it would be the fantasy instead of the PRA being 10 flat. You might as well just incorporate a little bit of extra boost if he gets 1 stock. And then Dante's minutes have gone up in the first half as well, I noticed, and he's playing more minutes in the first half.
Quinn says Ant-Man first quarter points? ? He usually plays the whole quarter, right? Can't remember off the top of my head, he says.
Yeah, look at that. So yeah, he's playing 16 minutes in the last 2 games in the first half. He went up also. He was averaging about 13 minutes, and the rotations have been pretty tight. This fantasy is 11.5. This is a great spot for Dante, scoring wise too. The Bulls defense is just so bad, and the pace is good. Environment's good for him. It's just is he gonna have enough shot volume, right? Because I mean, if he's only taking about 4 shots in the first half, he's gonna have to get it done in rebounding or playmaking too, and a stock to boot. Feel a little bit better about Nas, but I think both are in play in separate slips. Low hanging fruit. Feel a little bit better than Gobert, but Gobert, again, on paper, has the best matchup out of those guys. But yeah, Nas, you just got to lay in his threes. Same with Dante. First quarter, let's take a look. I actually altered it on Flip for Ant. He is still playing the entire first quarter. His first quarter is 8.5, right? So he's only gone over that 3 of the 7 games. 8.5 is a lot, man. I mean, unless you're like 80 or someone who's getting a high percentage shot volume near the basket. So with Ant, I mean, it's just, does he come out on fire or not? And we know Ant, he's either on NBA Jam's fire or he is ice cold to start the game. He's really, I mean, sometimes he starts hot and sometimes he starts really cold, and then he picks up in the second half. But if you're interested in his first quarter, now that I'm gonna pull this up. Now that Flip offers first quarter player props, and they have alt lines for it too. Let's see, Ant. You just gotta click on the player, and then you just gotta keep scrolling over until you see they have assists and rebounds as well. So you see player first quarter points. So those rebounds. Did I pass it?
Man, Fliff has really gotten good.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Player first quarter points. And you see they alted all the way down to 1.5, 2.5. So I did the 5.5 at minus 350. That's a solid parlay filler at 5.5. I mean, that's not bad at minus 350 for doing like a 3 to 4 leg stack here. You can get that into plus money if you stack it with a couple other ones around minus 200 and minus 300. But at 8.5, it's minus 105, so it's not the best value on PrizePicks. If you like the 8.5, I would, and you have access to flip, it's better value in my opinion, at minus 105. So yeah, you can even do the 4.5. It's minus 610, depending on the value you get on the other plays that you stack with it. Let's take a look at Gobert rebounds. So I was looking to his first quarter rebounds. He was averaging about just 2 on the dot. So it's not the best, but if you like it, you get it at minus 140 on flip. So the value's not bad on PrizePicks. It's about what it should be. And then, but the 1.5 definitely in play, minus 380. A little bit better value than Ant's 5.5 points. So 2 options. You can't game stack it the first quarter props. So if you want to do this, you're gonna have to do 1 from each game. So you should have to pick, maybe just try to find the best value in the play you like the most and roll with that. But for now, let's go with Gobert's 1.5 first quarter rebound. We'll build a little first quarter stack. We built one yesterday that hit at I think it was like plus 124 or something like that, and it was all favorable lines. Okay, yeah, that Ant should eat here. Speaking of him, great spot, but his lines are just so high, man. Like 41 fantasy, you're gonna need the game to go the full distance for him to play about 38 minutes or more. I mean, even at what he's averaging in the season at 1.05 fantasy, he would need to play 40 minutes. Get that, but I mean, obviously this is a boost against his defense. So we put him at 36 minutes and we boost it up a little bit. I think 41.5 is an appropriate line. I'm not going to do it just due to the game environment. I'm scared of the blowout. If Levine was playing, I'd feel better about it. But it is a great spot for Ant. 3-point shooting, someone asked. I think you could definitely get that done in this matchup. Bulls have notoriously been bad against 3-ball. They're bottom 8 against pick and roll ball handling, which is majority of Ant's points. They're bottom 4 in transition defense. They've been about average. They've been average against 3-ball, against guards. Luka dropped 27 on them. Dame 28. Let's see who else. Similar position players though. That's about it so far. His points are down to 25.5, so I definitely think the bookies are leaning towards a blowout here by lowering his points. You see when he plays in a blowout like 29, 30 minutes, and put up 21 points in 36 minutes. It's really when he plays in these competitive games where he plays 39 to 40 minutes where he gets those points. Julius also in a great spot too, right? Wish his points were a little bit lower at 19.5, but yeah, I think his lines are appropriate. Fantasy definitely there. If you think the game can go the distance, he dropped 35 on him last year when he was on the Knicks. So took a ton of shots, 23 shots to get there. Yeah. It's just who dominates the usage between Julius and Ant is the case in the most of the time for the T-Wolves, right? So I kind of like the ancillary pieces a little bit more. Conley's in a great spot, but I can't trust old man Conley. I mean, he could play anywhere from 20 minutes to 26, but in his potential blowout, I probably lean towards the lower side. But Bulls have now become the number 1 fantasy team, or fantasy points allowed to point guards. So I got him projected for 24 minutes. That's generous. I mean, really, it should be about 20 minutes, or 21. And that puts him at 22 fantasy, and then his fantasy line is 23. So, yeah, good spot for him though. Just can you trust the old man? I don't think I can.
You can't.
3-point made. Back to finish out this game. 3-point made. Where did Ant go? Oh, there's Ant. What is the line? 3.5. So last 2 games, his volume went down, right? But his volumes went cut in half almost last 2 games. But obviously, that'll change. I mean, yeah, the pace, the Bulls run picks up spot for the T-Wolves, more shots going up. So Ant, I mean, should take more than 6 or 7 threes here. But again, if it blows out, then maybe not. Maybe he sits around 6 to 8. So he's going to have to be super efficient to get that. But he's averaging 5 in the season made. And it's majority of where his shot points are from, right? 55% of his points are from the 3-ball. And the rest is just cutting to the basket, layups near the rim, 14, 15% in the paint. So I get it. It's instead of taking that 25 points, it's maybe a faster route to get there. Is easier routes through the 3-ball. Last year, how do you do? Head to head, he made 5, and then he went 0 of 5 against them. Sounds right about for Ant. Streaky shooter. That's all outside shooters are, right? All 3-point shooters. Like, when you put the chips on them, it's either gonna land on black or red, like in roulette. That's all I got though. I mean, I think value-wise, let's stick to the ancillary backup pieces here. They have an even easier matchup, and I think the lines have not caught up to Nas yet. If he's going to keep playing this 15 to 16 minutes in the first half like he has the last 2 games, then I think the fantasy, there's somewhat of an edge there. Dante, his line is it's appropriate because he's only averaging 0.81 fantasy per minute. So if we drop him, we put him at 16 minutes. That puts him right at 12.96 fantasy. So it's close. It's close.
You're almost talking me into my first over of the season with Nas.
Nas, yeah. Nas is in the right spots. Nas can be good, man. But again, he's a 3-point shooter too, right? But he can score in other ways. But yeah, good spot for all of them, man. Really, I think you can't go wrong with a lot of these guys. I mean, I wouldn't touch Jaden McDaniels. His usage is so low and he's so inconsistent. But pretty much every guy on the T-Wolves is in play. So, okay. Let's look out for Vooch's fantasy. See how juiced it is. Once they repost him after the Levine news. Jazz at Bucks. Bucks are 8.5 points favorites. They were 9.5, went down to 8.5. Maybe that's the public thinking that betting on Giannis being out, so they're starting to put some money on the Jazz spread, covering the spread. But yeah, we'll have to see on that. Biggest thing for Jazz is Markkanen's back and expected to play. You know, he's been out extended time, 4 games? Last 3 or 4. Probably going to be on somewhat of a minutes limit, I assume. Not playing his normal 36 plus. So I put him at a generous 32. Could even put him at 30, 31 minutes. And then that'll move the rookie Filipkowski back to the bench. And we should have Cody Williams, Sexton playing his limited 25 minutes as a starter. And Keontae George playing 32 minutes. And Big Kessler, should play about 29 to 31 minutes. I think it depends. Like if Giannis is out and if the Bucks go a little bit smaller, maybe Kessler loses out in a little bit of minutes here. But this is a great spot for the guards. I just don't like Jazz guards right now. Like I said, Sexton's not cracking 30 minutes. He's playing 25 minutes on the dot pretty much every game. And Clarkson is probable. He was questionable, so maybe I would have considered Sexton if Clarkson was ruled out, but he was just upgraded to probable, so don't really like that for Sexton. But, man, it's a great spot for all of them. I mean, we've talked about it since the start of the season and since last year. The Bucks cannot stop guards whatsoever. But can we trust Keontae George here? He hasn't shown me that we can. I will say his playmaking has gone up from last year. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, he's averaging on like 6.9 in the season, and last year he's averaged like 4.5. So the potentials are kind of all over the place, though. It's like it's either like 7 or 15 or 9. He just has a real high conversion rate. And the PRA, I mean, PRA is spot on. I mean, he's living around 25, right? Look what he did. No surprise, best game was against the Bulls. Right? So, I mean, he could have another really good game today. But I will say the Bucks changed it up because how bad they've been against guards. They changed their starting lineup. They took out Gary Trent, and they put in their best guard defender, Andre Jackson, who they claim is, their best on-ball defender. So they are starting now Andre Jackson instead of Gary Trent. So maybe their defense improves a little bit on the perimeter. But let's see how many minutes he actually plays. I put him for about 26. That's what Trent was playing. I Andre Jackson, the thing with him is, like, yes, he's a good defender, kind of like a Swiss Army knife, but he doesn't shoot. He can't stretch the floor. He can't score from the outside. He's really just out there to play defense. So when they're going to need buckets, I just think he will lose out on minutes and won't play that much. Just all depends if Giannis plays or not, really. But, yeah, who knows? We'll see if Andre improves the defense. But I put on here, great spot for Keontae. I think Markkanen being back will help stretch the floor out and help the offense and the flow of it. So maybe consider Keontae's assists or PRA. But he's a hard click, man. He's a hard click. He's just young and inefficient. So I mean, just look at his points. Yeah. But I mean, see, it's a great matchup and everything. Transition, bottom 10, handoff, bottom 10, spot up shooting, bottom 5, pick and roll, bottom 5. And look at all the green for the Bucks against guards. They allow every spot on the court pretty much except near the rim. So you just got to land his outside shots, man, if you like him. 15.5 points is pretty low. So I'd say maybe even just the points or the PA. But you're paying a tax on the PA because his assists are 5.5. His points are 15.5. So you're paying like a whole 1.5 tax at 22.5. So they're kind of making you choose. Yeah, guys, that's it, man. I mean, Clarkson, he could do well off the bench here, but I don't know the severity of what he's been dealing with that had the questionable tag, so I'll have to look more into him. Collins has a pretty low line at 9.5, though, even with Markkanen back. It's a pretty low line. But that's probably only going to be in the books. Yeah, I hate playing both these teams, like, for any overs. And I can't call the Bucks because I don't know if Giannis is playing. He's like a true 50-50. So if he's out, I think we could consider Bobby P in this matchup. The Jazz right now are giving up the second most fantasy points to centers. So let's just look out. I know his lines are going to be juiced, though. That's the only thing. Or PR. That's all. I mean, this game I'll probably have the least exposure to. And it sucks because, I mean, it's the highest total on the slate at 230.5. All the other ones are pretty low.
J. Cole says, almost time for the main event. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. What's up, J. Cole?
What up, J. Cole? Giannis, if he plays, I mean, great spot for him, but I'm sure he's going to be limited with whatever he's dealing with, even more so. I mean, they already limited his minutes. Probably cut him down to 29, 30 minutes. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's look out for that news. But Dame's going to have to do all the scoring if Giannis is out with this lineup, man. With Andre Jackson out there and Taurean Prince and Burlow. Dame's going to be tired tonight with that carrying that backpack. All right, the main event. Best game of the season. Underrated's Blazers at the lowly declining Spurs.
Hey, J. Cole says it's the main event, so
it is the main event. I put money on the Blazers cover the spread. Took them at different spread lines. But let's talk about the Blazers. Underrated's Blazers here. Dude, I looked into their metrics and their defense is good. It's good, man. It's good. It's crazy. It's like they were the team last year that we attacked.
Yeah.
Now they do give up fantasy. So if you see the ranking, like the point guards, shooting guard, and small forward, they give up fantasy because they just make boneheaded turnovers and they give up a lot of stocks and rebounds. But their wing defense and like their perimeter defense they're holding it down. And inside the paint this year, they're holding it down too. So yeah, the 25th, bottom 5 in fantasy points allowed to centers. And if you look at the actual chart here, they're holding it.
Why are they holding it down, do you think?
Look at that. Number 2 in the paint, and then number 6, top 6 in near the basket.
Is this Ayton or what?
I mean, Grant's been playing really good defense. He's been getting a ton of stocks, a lot of blocks and steals. Kamara has been he's been playing great and playing huge minutes as a result. But we got to throw a wrench into the things always, right? Guess who's back?
Guess who's back? Who?
Shaden Sharp.
Oh, the man. He loves to shoot.
Man. Now, this really messes things up. I think Kamara's been playing way too good, especially on defense, to take him out of the starting lineup and put in Sharp, in my opinion. But I'm not Coach Billups, so we have to wait and see. Even if Sharp plays, he's going to be limited, and he hasn't played in so long. It's his first game of the season. But if he does start, then that means Kamara's minutes are definitely way down. Kamara's been playing 35 minutes routinely a game. Last 2 games that were competitive, he played 35 or 36 minutes. So I put him down to 31 just in case Sharp eats into the minutes. But what I'm hoping is that Sharp comes off the bench and he just takes away minutes from those other bench guys that were coming in. And they just ease him into like a 18 to 20 minute backup role today. We'll see. Sharp was a key piece of their future, right? So eventually he will be the starter. It's just, is it today in his first day back? We'll see. He was just upgraded to questionable for the first time, so the Blazers community thinks he's going to play. So I wouldn't touch Kamara props, even though it's tempting. His fantasy is only at 22.5. I have him at 25, playing very low, 31 minutes. But if you put him at his normal 35, I puts him at 28 fantasy, so well above his fantasy line. But it's just too risky. We need to wait on Sharp. We need to wait on the starting lineup. And put him back at 30. Denny's minutes have been all over the place. I wouldn't touch him. He's either playing like 22 minutes all the way up to 30 minutes. So one thing I am kind of interested in, though, that he is consistently doing, he's I looked into, he's consistently playing 8 to 9 minutes in the first quarter. And one thing I did all the time last year, it's kind of degenny, but if you're into that kind of stuff, took his first quarter rebounds a lot. And he's really good at getting offensive rebounds and just rebounding in general, right? So look at his first quarter game log this year so far. So he's playing 8 to 9 minutes routinely, which is good. He had 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, and then 0 and 2, and then 4. But it's right there on the line. I just think with the amount of breaks on both sides they're going to put up in this matchup, that's the only prop I would take for him. I think it's on PrizePicks, and that's the only reason I bring it up for those interested in PrizePicks. Yeah, DGen prop, but let's see the odds on Flip and compare it.
I always like to see that. It's interesting.
Where are you, Mr. Denny? Okay, so it's right. It's minus 130. That's what PrizePicks would be, right? Maybe a little better value on Flip. But maybe we use this as a parlay builder here. Minus 625. We might be able to find something better first quarter stack with with Gobert's rebound. But for now, we'll leave that. You should get at least one rebound.
That's super nerfy, huh? One rebound.
1.5.
Come on,
The
one
1.5?
rebound. Both.
Yeah. No, I'd feel confident on the one. I mean, he only had one game this season where he had 0.
That's where you throw your TV out the window and it doesn't happen, though.
Yeah. Now, the guy I'm interested in is Jeremy Grant. Like I said, he's been super active on defense. He's getting a ton of stocks. It's a great matchup for him. He's almost at fantasy point per minute this year. And he's been playing him and Simons the most minutes, and I would say Grant probably the most. Grant's played all the way up to almost 40 minutes in a game before. I put him at a generous 30, conservative 34. But if the game is close to the very end, I mean, he could easily play up to 38, 39 minutes. Let's put him at 38. That puts him at 37 fantasy. They got him at 28.5. It's pretty low. Let's put him back down to 34, just in case Sharp messes up rotation. That still puts him at 33 fantasy on an average day. And this is the Spurs we're talking about here, right? So let's look at his history. Last year. I'm sorry, J.R. Smith. So one game he got injured. He only played 10 minutes. The other game, he had 36 fantasy and 39 minutes. And then he had a game before that. They played a back-to-back doubleheader. He had 44 fantasy and 41 minutes. Both games, he dropped 29, 27 points. So, and Wemby played in both those games I looked at. Great spot for him here. Let's just hope Sharp doesn't start, because Sharp's going to take shots too, right? So, let's hope. I just hope Sharp doesn't even play, to be honest. But if Sharp is out or doesn't start, I could get behind Grant's full game fantasy here at 28.5. If you don't want Grant, I think Aiden is a viable option too. This fantasy line is only 32.5. And let's see how he did last year against Wemby. $41 fantasy. And the only game he played against Wemby. So I have him projected for 32 minutes. It's where he's been sitting around at a little over 1 fantasy point per minute, and that puts him at 33.3 fantasy, and they have him at 32.5. So it's appropriate. There's not much as an edge as Grant is. So yeah, so let's say if Sharp, for whatever reason, they decide not to make him debut today, then Kamara's 22.5 fantasy, definitely in play. Because then that would put his minutes back up and secure him starting and secure his minutes. So I'll take a note of that if it's rolled out. And this one I put if Sharp is not starting. Okay. That's all I got. I don't really mess with Simons much. It's a great spot for Simons 3-point shooting wise. If you want to take a shot at 3-point shooting, because the Spurs continue to bleed threes. So if you want to take a shot on a 3-point, let's see, what is it at? It's only 2.5. Heavy juice though on the over. He had 7 against them last year. Let's see. Yeah, they're bottom. The Spurs are bottom 2 in 3-point defense. The Hawks are still number 1 in worst 3-point defense. So there you go. But yeah, I don't. Is it 2.5 worth it at -178? Maybe you can find a better price in a different book if you're in the books. But cheering for 3 threes at a -178, just I don't know. It's not really my thing, but those who like 3-point props, man, it's a great spot for them. Looks like the best price is Caesar -148. Some places like DK bumped them all the way up to 3.5 already. Yeah. Spurs side, man, the Spurs just look like they don't care whatsoever. I don't know if it's like Pop going through his medical issues and being away from the team, but they just don't. There's no motivation and drive, like especially from Chris Paul. I don't blame him at his age. Wemby did look like he was disinterested yesterday. Only guys that were like doing anything with these young guys, and like the rookie like Castle, and then Julian, second-year guy coming in, was playing hard. And Harrison Barnes was just like completely checked out. And speaking of him, can we go under? Now, I bring him up because I mentioned that the Blazers have one of the best wing perimeter defenses right now. How do we feel?
Did someone say under?
I'm thinking the thing when you mess with these low usage, low point guys is that they can get fluky threes or putbacks. So
yeah,
and just burn. But I mean, he's gone over this 3 out of his last 8 games. The Blazers, people think
trying to test that Blazer D, huh?
They think the Blazers are the same team as last year, and they're definitely not. It's kind of weird that he dropped 18 on OKC this year. But yeah, I mean, his usage is just so low. A little bit better value if you don't want to do it in the books is his first half under. So his first half is 6 flat, which would put him at like 12 points. So he's got to get 4 buckets to burn you, or hit a 3 and get 2 buckets.
J. Cole agrees. J. Cole agrees. He says unders.
Yes. Yeah, he's got to get. If he doesn't make any threes, he's got to get 4 buckets to burn you, or and 1 or something. But it has push potential at best, I think. But look at his first half. Barnes, what are you doing out here, my dude? I think he wants out. He's like, what am I doing in San Antonio? Yeah, look at this. 3 field goal attempts, 2 field goal attempts in 18 minutes in the first half. Yeah, he's averaging about 3.5 field goal attempts in the first half. He's gone over this only 2 times, and it was the first 2 games of the season. He played 15 minutes in the first half against Houston and had 0 points, 0 of 2. 1 rebound. I don't know what he's doing out there, guys.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, I would say you can even consider the PRA under, but sometimes he just has random spike rebound games from getting offensive rebounds, just crashing in from the wing. So, sure, that can burn you. But I would say either the first half 6 points under or the full game points or PRA under.
I'm gonna super under it over here on Hot Streak, 14.5 points. How's that sound?
That's nice.
That's nice, right?
That's nice. I
Oh,
think it's PRA 17.
I'm in. I'll post it in the Discord. If anyone has Hot Streak, they can ride.
I like it. I mean, his minutes went way down in the first half. I was looking into it. I couldn't figure out why. I think he was just playing like shit. And the intern coach just benched him because, like, he checked out. He did his normal first quarter rotation, took 1 shot, had 2 turnovers in a span of 10 minutes in the first quarter, and then he never came back in. He normally comes back in to start the second. Never came back in and didn't check back in the second quarter until 2.5 minutes, and took 2 shots, missed 1, got blocked, and then made the other one. So I mean, maybe he's just in the doghouse right now with this intern coach. But yeah, sorry, no, he doesn't start the second quarter. He normally comes in around the 8-minute mark. The 7 to 8 minute mark. So I don't know.
He sucks.
He does. It's just with him. It's just does he get lucky and he gets a wide open corner 3 and he hits it. I'll take my chances. I'll roll the dice. Especially in the first half, man. He's got to make a 3 and then he's got to make 2 buckets. So,
I'll tell you like this. I'd definitely rather be on the side of him not hitting it.
Right? Because I mean, last game he took 0 threes. He took 1 in the first half of the other game in 18 minutes.
Yeah.
He took 2, 2, 1, 0. And then it was just that 2 games to start the season. He's probably feeling the team. He's like, oh man, I'm on Wemby's team. We got it going. And then look at this decline in motivation. He doesn't care anymore. But we'll see. Maybe turns it around today. But if you want to look at history, last year when he was on the Kings, different Blazers team though, right? 17, 9 points, and 12.
Well, now this is fun. You got the Blazers. I'm riding with Blazers to hold down Barnes. So, same team.
Yeah. And he only went over the PRA once last season in the 3 games against the Blazers. For those that are interested in DVP history, yeah. Let's ride the Blazers, man. And then I mean, all these other guys. Julian is like, he plays whether the game is a blowout or not, so he's risky to touch, but he's just not an efficient shooter. Chris Paul is in a great spot, I mean, in terms of stock and playmaking upside here, but he's on a back-to-back, but at least the starters didn't play much. Chris Paul played like 19 minutes. They're at home. Does he bounce back here? Maybe. But his fantasy line's too high, 33. I'd maybe consider if they nerfed it after that performance yesterday, but they did not. And Wemby's, they only nerfed him by 1 fantasy. He could just have like abnormal amount of free blocks against Ayton here, so you could take a chance and hope he continues to play like dog water and just keep taking his unders, but the potential is there, right? I'd rather go with guys who I know the potential in history, like Harrison Barnes. So we can quickly look at it before we head out. We can look at Wemby's history last year. It's good old 42 PRA and 39 PRA. How many blocks did he have? Or steals plus blocks? 7, 4. He had 7 blocks. I don't even think Ayton played in this. Ayton didn't even play in this game. He played in this game though, the January. Points, 30 and 23. He got 30 in only 24 minutes of play, and then he got 23 and 29 minutes of play. On back-to-backs, how many minutes did he play on the back-to-back? Played 34 minutes, so the minutes much higher than last year on back-to-backs. Yeah, he was averaging around 28 minutes on a back-to-back last year. So his minutes in at least the one back-to-back they played were secure at 34. And like I said, it was a blowout, so he did not play many minutes. He played only 24 minutes yesterday. So back-to-back shouldn't really affect him here if you're kind of using that in your logic on unders. But yeah, man, he doesn't look like the same Wemby as last year, all the hype. But still early in the season, he could turn it around. We'll see. But for now, I'll just keep fading him. Unless it's a prime spot, like where I know in matchups like Jabari, someone that is athletic and can guard him with length.
Man,
Blazers don't really have that, right?
Yeah. That Jabari call though was great.
Yeah, it's something I noticed last year, and I told the community last year, and the Jabari effect. They just have him shadow. Jabari just shadow him, so it's
Right.
a great matchup for him.
Well, hey, I got 3 minutes left. Just letting you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know who on the Blazers would do that. I mean, Grant has the length, but I mean, you can match up pretty well. But yeah, his lines are still really high. So if you want to take the under, I get it. The PRA is still at 39.5, but remember, no Sohan. But yeah, let me get Ayton. Let me get Grant and under on Harrison Barnes, and hope that the Blazers bench plays well. And let's watch out for the Shane Sharp news. And then we'll find some more plays. We got plenty of time later in the day. Drop them in the Discord. So, and we got Booch props. Still no fantasy. I don't mind Grant's first half fantasy. That's for sure. Okay. So we only have his PRA. Look out for the fantasy. Let's see. Hopefully it's at 18.5. Should be. All right, guys. Back at it tomorrow. Big slate.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate you. And 2 words. Go Blazers!
Let's go Blazers.